Welcome to the first episode of R&R's Restoration Report, a monthly podcast where we bring you a variety of industry news. I'm your host, Mildred Ingram, R&R's editor-in-chief, and today I'm joined by four special guests. We
Mhm.
have Anissa Coy, who is co-hosting today's show. She is the owner of Firehouse Education and Mobile Cleaning Systems. Anissa is a 23-year veteran of the restoration industry, as we know from her educational Ask Anissa videos, which can be seen on the R&R website. Anissa was the inaugural recipient of the Women in Restoration Award in 2016 and was also awarded the 2008 Ambassador to the Industry from Harana Marketing, from which she drove away a Mercedes SUV.
Mhm.
She is an international trainer, author, speaker, and coach. We also have Barry Costa. He is an IICRC instructor and owner of Costa Group Education, where they provide virtual training and products regarding the carpet installation, cleaning, and restoration industry. Barry has served and chaired many national committees within the cleaning and restoration industry, including the Examinations and Standards Chairman for the IICRC, bringing in their current grading and test analysis process. Barry also led the organization with a great team to bring the American National Standards Institute, ANSI, accreditation of the IICRC standards writing process. The list goes on.
Mhm.
Then we have Bob Jordan from Pure Clean Seattle, which he has owned and operated since 2016. Bob is the brand ambassador for Pure Clean and the winner of the On the Move Award, as well as the prestigious President's Circle Award for not just 1 year, but 4 years running. And we have Jeff Jones, Microbial Warrior, who is a certified bioforensics restoration specialist, as well as a certified forensic operator with 50 years of field experience in forensic restoration. Jeff currently serves as Director of Forensic Operations and the Master Trainer for the Global Biorisk Advisory Council. Jeff is an author, lecturer, and he has taught the protocols and procedures of forensics restoration in Europe, the Mediterranean, and Latin America. These are just a few things on this long list of outstanding accomplishments. I want to thank all of you guys for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank
You're very
you.
much.
Good to be
Yes.
here.
Yes. So let's get right to it. We have huge news to share that not only affects the restoration and remediation industry, but dare I say the world.
Mhm.
I will hand it over to Anissa.
Well, thank you, Mildred. That was awesome. I am so excited to welcome you all to the first episode of R&R Restoration Report. And I'm even more excited for the topic that we are about to talk about and announce here on this with these wonderful restoration professionals that have joined us. You know, if you've watched any of my videos before on Ask Anissa, you know how much I value your time. And I just want to appreciate you so much for spending your time here with us today. And I think by the time we get done with this video, you're going to be super happy that you did. You know, there is such an awesome opportunity in our industry to serve our communities, with care, compassion, and concern, and be there in extreme time of need. And there are amazing humans in this industry that are there to do exactly that, serve their communities. And right now, there is a call that is calling all of us in this industry that is more concerning, more of a clear and present danger than anything has ever been before. And that is dealing with fentanyl. Fentanyl is so deadly. In the last few weeks, I've been doing a lot of research coming up to this interview, and I was appalled at some of the things that I learned about this, and the fact that this knowledge is not out there more and more in our industry and in the world for that matter is very scary. There are first responders, there are law enforcement agents, and those people that are going out when they're getting called to critical situations and responding to incidences like pill manufacturing facilities or houses or hotels or apartments that are being contaminated with this drug use, and they're dying because they don't understand how to properly go in and decontaminate this. At best that I can tell in my research, there's really nothing out there as far as training and proper procedures to make these kind of incident sites safe, and certainly nothing that happens in any kind of a decent time frame. So there's just a desperate need. And here with me today, I have three amazing restoration professionals that are answering that calling, and they have an incredible announcement to make that I'm just very excited. This is the biggest announcement, you guys, in the industry, I think, since like maybe, I don't know, air scrubbers or dehues were invented. Like, it's just awesome. So first, I want to talk with each of you and ask some, I have tons of questions for you guys, but first, I want to be able to talk with Jeff. And I want to add just a little tiny bit to Mildred's intro of Jeff. And I'm going to have to read this because it's so detailed. I want to get this right. So Jeff is a specialist in counterterrorism. He's a former U.S. Army soldier, former SWAT team leader, and the youngest person to ever attend the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia. Jeff is a certified bioforensic restoration specialist, as well as a certified forensic operator with over 50 years in the field experience in forensic restoration. Jeff is certified in crime scene track investigator, as well as certified search and rescue tracker. He is a past president of the Restoration Industry Association, RIA, and a past president of the National Institute of Rug Cleaning. He is a certified rug specialist, a certified master rug cleaner. He was the first chairman of the Forensic Council, co-editor of tons of RA guidelines for professional forensic restoration, and goes on and on and on. I just want you all listening to understand the qualifications and the accomplishments of this gentleman for what he is about to share with you and tell you his news. So, Jeff, without further ado, my friend, I would love you to please introduce to all of the audience what exactly is the Microbial Warriors and the Certified Forensic Operator certification, and what is the new certification that you would like to introduce to all of us?
Well, thank you so much. What a nice introduction. I appreciate that. Based on the sciences of biorisk management and infection control, Microbial Warrior is a tactical system of strategy for forensic restoration and decontamination. Forensic restoration is the comprehensive remediation of microenvironments, and that term was first coined by Dr. Michael A. Berry, formerly with the EPA, in his wonderful book, Protecting the Built Environment. Microenvironments could be a building, a structure, a residence, commercial building, government institution, and you can have a microenvironment inside of a microenvironment. It could be a room within a house. It could be an office inside of a commercial environment. So those are the man-made microenvironments. What Microbial Warrior tactical system of strategy for forensic restoration does at its base level, it presents the Certified Forensic Operator Program with its prime directive of safety. Cannot, shall not, will not be violated under any circumstances. Once the safety protocols and procedures are ingrilled in that student, that trainee, then they'll be taught to negotiate one of the 5 different levels of biorisk. And the biorisk level 1 is simply the emission of any bodily fluid. Example, somebody threw up in a Walgreens. Somebody got a GI bleed, common with elderly people. Somebody got a bloody nose. We treat all bodily fluids as if they're contaminated. All bodily fluids as if they were plutonium. There's that safety right there. And so biorisk level 1, the emission of any bodily fluid. Biorisk level 2 could be any incident of trauma or loss of life incident, LOL, that law enforcement's called in, and the forensic operator now is going to remediate that, but he's not going to alter the structure in any mode. Biorisk level 3, now we're going to alter the structure, and that could include just pulling up carpet, cutting out pad, or cutting out sheetrock, or whatever needs to be done at that level. Biorisk level 4 is simply the introduction of a known infectious agent, and biorisk level 5 is mass casualties, bioterrorism, and now with the introduction of the most dangerous contaminant that we've seen in my lifetime, fentanyl, carfentanil, opioids. And so following the protocols and procedures of the biorisk levels 1 through 5 and earning that title of certified forensic operator, I've said in the past, and I wasn't bragging or anything, but there's not a contaminant or a pathogen on this planet I can't negotiate, nor my students or the people that train with me. But now look at what we've got. We started looking at fentanyl over 2 years ago. And while everyone else was looking at the introduction of this enveloped virus, the coronavirus that would cause COVID-19, actually the easiest virus to inactivate on the planet. And I'm not going to give a real great grade on our response to that in the restoration world. A lot of people were just going in and we're doing what I call spraying and praying, okay? Spraying with whatever device they had and spraying whatever bug juice that they got. They're saying, oh, we're killing COVID. You cannot kill a virus. Let me lay that right on the table. It's not a living organism. It's more of akin to a zombie. It attaches itself to a host, and it stays active until either it plays itself out or that host dies. Meanwhile, right before that happened, okay, in 2019, Lori and Lori is my wife, who's been doing forensic restoration with me now for over 15 years, and the executive director of the Global Biorisk Advisory Council, Patty Olinger. We were the only 3 people in the entire cleaning and restoration industry that were invited to Dubrovnik, Croatia, to speak at the Nuclear, Biological, Chemical, and Radiation Symposium with some of the top scientists in the world. What we did there was lecture on forensic restoration and decontamination and its applications toward biorisk management, and bioterrorism. And we were voted best presentation of the symposium. In the first week of January of 2020, I did an interview when there were only 2.5 cases of the coronavirus, which caused COVID-19 in the United States. I call it 2.5 because there were 2 in a nursing home in the state of Washington, and the 0.5 was in Chicago, and it had not been declared positive yet. And we said then, this is going to be a global pandemic. To which the person interviewing me said, you think so? And I said, absolutely, this will be a global pandemic. But something else I was looking at on our radar, besides the threat of bioterrorism, was that fentanyl was really becoming an issue now. Fentanyl is one of the most dangerous contaminants that we have ever seen introduced.
And Jeff, can you tell us why? I mean, I've done this research on this. My mind's blown on this, but tell us, why is this so much more dangerous and concerning? And you're calling this biorisk. So we're not just talking about pandemic here. It's a different level.
Sure. This new training program, by the way, is the Certified High-Risk, High-Level Decontamination Specialist. I think the term right there ought to tell you exactly what it is. High-risk, high-level decontamination. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. It's 50 times more powerful than heroin and 100 times more powerful than morphine. You can inhale it. Somebody asked me, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Okay, let me give you an example of why I'm doing it. Anissa, would you bring up those images? Okay, I think a picture's worth 1,000 words. What she just showed you is the amount of fentanyl that will kill you graveyard dead. Okay, why am I doing this? Because last year in 2022, 30,000 Americans lost their lives to firearms, gun violence. Okay, over 40,000 Americans lost their lives in automobile accidents. Over 100,000 Americans died from fentanyl. That's more than firearms and automobiles combined. All that's necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to sit and do nothing. I'm not sitting this one out. There's no way. Okay. Following the proper protocols and procedures of the certified high risk, high level decontamination specialist, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. We've got first responders out there on the front lines, law enforcement, paramedics, firemen, the U.S. Border Patrol, God bless them. Okay, they're on the front lines of this and they're in the danger zone. What we can't do as an industry is go out and mimic what we did during COVID-19. We cannot do this spray and pray, because if you do that, we spent 2 years developing every protocol on this, testing every product. I went and sat down and visited and was grilled by some of the scientists that the government and the U.S. military went to for their decontamination purposes to make sure that this was a quality training program. Because again, what's the prime directive? Safety. Safety for the team of operators in there and in that hazardous micro environment, and safety for all future occupants. I'll be the first person in and the last person out, and I will not surrender an environment until I'm comfortable with you opening a daycare center there the next day.
Jeff, right? Yes, yes. So a couple quick things. You talk about clear and imminent danger. And yes or no, is fentanyl clear and imminent danger?
The President of the United States has declared fentanyl a national emergency, but I'll go one step farther. This is not only a clear and present danger to health and human life, it's a clear and present danger to the security of the United States of America. This is manufactured in foreign countries and it's smuggled in by drug cartels. There are evil people that have no love for us.
And this kind of, huge capacity the fentanyl has to have mass casualty situation. I know you shared with me an article where there was an infant who passed away at 19 months old after spending 24 hours in a home that her parents rented for a couple of days because there had been fentanyl use in the home. And you had told me that it could be because it was aerolized, and in the air handling system may not be that she came necessarily in contact physically, with her body, like a surface with that. Is that correct? And if that's correct, I'm thinking of some huge bioterrorist situations that could occur when we're talking about huge federal buildings and air handling systems and things like this. Can you speak to that for a moment?
Yeah, I don't want to create a blueprint for there's enough twisted minds out there and people with bad intentions.
Understood.
If you can imagine it, they probably have also. Think about a balloon flying over your town. Okay, what an excellent delivery system. HVAC systems, what an excellent delivery system. But when we're called in as professionals, as high-risk, high-level decontamination specialists, at that micro environment right there, that building, that structure, we have 4 objectives that we want to do. We want to contain, control, neutralize, and remove. These are the same strategies that I used when I was working SWAT. Contain, control, neutralize, remove. If we had an active shooter, God forbid, inside of a school, we want to contain it, control it, neutralize the threat, and then remove it.
So Jeff, tell us about this training, this high risk, high level training that you've come up with, and how long are the classes? We're talking hands-on. We're going to walk away with knowing A to Z and how to go out and actually do this work.
Oh, absolutely. That's why we weren't going to release this. We weren't even going to talk about it until the program was bulletproof. Okay. Everything has been worked out in extreme details. You know, if you want to learn to swim, you got to jump in the water. Okay. That's just all there is to that. Anyone that's been to the Certified Forensic Operator course will tell you we're going to get bloody on this. Well, we're going to suit up on numerous days. We're going to go through every phase of the project, from how to set up containment to we're not going to go in and start praying and spraying. Okay. We're going to make a tactical incursion into that micro environment. Do you understand what I just said? Tactical, meaning we've got a plan. An incursion, that means we're going to attack. That's a mindset. You are never going to get anywhere in this life with a passive mindset. You've got to have a warrior's attitude. What we're doing is we're making the world a better place for elderly, for children, for people that can't defend themselves. And we've set up 2 programs on this. One for the high-risk, high-level decontamination specialists that'll be doing the remediation work, and the other program for law enforcement and first responders. Anybody that was ever in the scouting program knows they took their first aid class. What's one of the first rules? Stop the bleeding, apply pressure, make sure that the patient is breathing properly, clear the airway. We want to arm law enforcement and first responders like the U.S. Border Patrol, like the DEA, like my childhood heroes, even the Texas Rangers. We want to arm these people with training, tactics, techniques, and tools. The same thing we're going to arm the remediators with. Notice the order I said this with: training, tactics, techniques, and tools. I use tools last because without the training, without the tactics, without the techniques of how to properly do forensic cleaning, the tools are useless. A Ferrari is a great car. Hand the keys to a 14-year-old, you've got a recipe for disaster. So that's why every phase of this training has been carefully thought out, worked, reworked. Here's the deal. Amateurs train till they get it right. Professionals train till they cannot get it wrong.
Oh, that's good, Jeff. So, Barry, I want to bring you in this conversation because I know just how passionate you are about this training as well. And you are a very amazing instructor yourself. You have been involved in so much in this industry for more years than I know. How many years have you been in the industry?
Well, actually, it's 50 as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. There you go. And so I want you to speak because I happen to know that you have had microbial training since you and I took the class together last year. But I want now, Jeff kind of gave you a segue in here. I want you to speak to this training and, as being an instructor for so many years and seeing so much in this industry with people going out and not being properly trained, because we've all seen that. What kind of dangers are there present with this scenario if you do go out there without the proper training? And talk to us a little bit about how you felt about your experience with going in and doing the and getting the certification with Microbial Warriors for forensic operator.
Well, Anissa, I appreciate the opportunity to do that. My background, I was a school teacher for 10 years. I have a degree in education. And I think what I'm able to bring to the table with the program is that background. I have been teaching in the industry for quite some time, mid 80s with the IICRC approved schools and so on, quite a few. However, some of you may be thinking, well, Barry's probably in this because he's going to be doing this training. No, I'm not going to be doing this training. I got involved because Jeff Jones and what he stands for, what he does, his passion, his focus. Look, what we're dealing with is human life. We're dealing with mortality here. We don't have room for guessing. We don't have room for people going in not trained to the level of training needed when we deal with such a high risk of life and limb of people. And this is a real serious subject. So needless to say, at the age of 68, I love this industry. I love what we stand for. So I think one of the maybe the gifts that I can supply is my background in education. For instance, when you become a microbial warrior, a forensic operator, even at a biorisk level 1 and 2, um, you're being looked at through 3 modalities. You're being assessed through 3 modalities, not 1, not 2, but 3. You do have to take a cognitive exam, and I think every organization out there uses that, and so on. However, working with Dr. Jennifer DeBry of Tennessee University, what a gift to our group as well. Dr. Jen is just an amazing professional. But as she knows and I know, there's also performance assessment using what's called weighted rubrics, whereas, for instance, I just had an operation done about 2.5 weeks ago. And if the doctor was certified through cognitive knowledge only, I would not allow them to take the scalpel on my body. They have to prove with a cadaver they can actually perform the craft, especially when life and limb is at risk. And what are we talking about? Mortality rates of fentanyl, of opioids, of weapons of mass destruction and delivery systems of bioterrorism out there. We can't afford to guess, and we can't afford to put good people out there with a level of training that doesn't reach the level that it needs to be, and assessment that they are ready to go out and actually perform this needed craft for humanity, for society. So you're going to be assessed cognitively. You're going to be assessed on your performance of your craft, of your skills, making sure that, like SWAT team, that group practices and practices and practices because they can't afford to make a mistake. We have people's lives in limbo right now. And then the third assessment is behavioral, because when you're in environments such as this, the way you speak, the way you react with humans that are going through traumatic issues, there's the emotionalism. Anissa, you know this better than anyone with firehouse training. When you're dealing with people under trauma, it isn't just physical, it's emotional. So how are you going to handle the emotional side when you're dealing with people in trauma and life and death issues? Oh, I am just so honored that Jeff allowed me to dive with both feet in and make any contribution I can to the program that he's leading. And he's one heck of a leader. I have to tell you, Jeff, I will follow you anywhere. Now, that other person in the background, I'm not sure, but I would follow you to war because I've listened to you, I've worked with you, and I have so much faith that your intent for making the world a better place is actually what we're all here for. I often tell people, my students, the story of my daughter, Kim. I lost my daughter to cancer back in the year 2000, and she wrote these incredible 10 life lessons. And her 5th life lesson was touch as many lives as you can. And when she said those words, she was staring at her dad during a graduation speech. So my daughter kind of pinpointed what my purpose on the earth is. It's kind of parallel to Jeff and everybody else on the board that are working so hard to make the world a better place. So thanks for allowing me to join in. My part is like this big in a huge thing, but you know what? As they say in an engine, when everybody's arguing which part of that engine's the most important,
Yeah.
they all are, because if they don't all work together, the engine doesn't run. And if we don't do our work together, what's going to happen in society? COVID kicked our butt, and it should not have. And I was embarrassed with the way our industry responded to it because we weren't ready. Are we going to wait now again and not learn through history? And we've got something right in front of us that need handling? I guess that's it right there in a nutshell, Anissa.
Yeah. Wow, Barry, that was really well said. And I 100% agree with you. The reason Jeff and I even met each other and we're today having this conversation was because of the way our industry was reacting to COVID. And I did the most popular Ask Anissa video I've ever done was on me basically telling restoration professionals to knock it off. And I was chewing everybody out. And and it was what not to do in your business during COVID-19, I believe was the actual title. Jeff saw that video and he called me the very next morning. He forgot, by the way, that we're 3 hours difference. And I think he called me at like 5:30, but I forgive him. So he called me up next morning and him and I talked, and he literally said, I want to thank you for saying what no one else was saying and for doing so publicly on your platform. And him and I connected from there. And I really want to say, you know, everyone watching this video or listening to the podcast, I'm very passionate about this kind of training that Jeff is doing, because Barry really hit the nail on the head just now. This is not just about all of the physical aspects of this. We have emotional trauma to deal with here, even more so than I normally deal with on fire jobs. Not only the emotional trauma that we have to help people through that are experiencing the incident, but what about our workers? You know, I took that. I'm a certified forensic operator with Microbial Warriors, is where I took that training last July, and it hit me really hard when Jeff really reinforced in me, check in with your team. Look, they have to look you in the eye and you have to say, are you okay? And they have to say yes. Like, how is everyone doing? And this kind of training, we need to do that with our team as well as with those people that are experiencing the serious situation out there. So I want to applaud you, Jeff, so much for making that a big part of your training, and for the first responder training that you're doing. Off the hook, amazing and incredible. I want to take a quick second. I want to go back to that with you, Jeff, but I actually want to take a really quick second. I want to talk to Bob. And Bob, you are actually my next door neighbor. You're on the other side of the state from me, about 5 hours away, and you have an awesome Pure Clean location. And I think you've got several, but they're in Seattle. And what I want to talk to you about is I know you are also a fellow Microbial Warrior forensic certified operator. And I wanted to ask you to please speak with anybody listening and tuning in with us today about your experience as a operating right now in the field restoration contractor. You told me an awesome information story about how you came home and how you're using this training and what it has done to change your business. And speak to anybody watching this that's in the restoration industry and wondering if they should be doing this training. What would you say to them, Bob?
Well, I would certainly say yes, you absolutely want to be in on it. And we put our money where our mouth is. I've been to the training.
Mm-hmm.
I sent 3 of my top guys to the training after I had gone to the training. We have another course, the high risk, high level disinfection specialist course coming up. I'm bringing 2 others of my team to that as well too. Later on in May, I believe it's in May, there's another certified forensic operator course being offered, and I'll have people at that as well too. 3 days ago, I was at a suicide by firearm site. 3 days ago. Last month, I was at a double homicide. Last year, we did multiple suicide, homicide, unattended death scenes. And we had the tools, well, we had the training, the technique, the tactics, and the tools to do what needed to be done. We know how to check for cleaning or for cleanliness. We know how to handle all 7 phases of the Certified Forensic Operator program. We are trained microbial warriors. We take it seriously. I counsel with Jeff often. There's a very large project that we're looking at in Seattle. I've sent Jeff photographs, gotten his input on that as well too, both he and Lori. When we were at the Certified Forensic Operator course, when I was there for the first time, I took pictures of everything. It was all systematic. It was all intentional. Everything was presented in a practical, hands-on, detailed program. I understand order and process. I was a principal materials and process engineer in aerospace for 2 decades. I get materials, I get processes, I get interaction, I get safety. I've been a safety officer multiple times. when you come out of Jeff's course, you know the chemistry, you know the materials, you know the equipment, you know the PPE, you know the techniques, you know the processes, and you have you can't miss. We not only use this in biohazard, we also use it in category 3 sewage water, other highly contaminated environments. We use it in mold. We've used it in smoke odor removal.
Yeah.
All of these are applications of the hands-on stuff we learn. And I'll tell you, hats off to Jeff and Lori for putting together and making available to us a system that works and that you come back and on the first day, you know what to do.
Yeah.
You come get, you order the materials that you need and you know what to do. It isn't a theory class. Thank God for theory. We have to have theory. Jeff's are hands-on, practical. We use them. I've already used them multiple times this year.
Wow.
We used them all through last year. We do this stuff. We didn't just go to class and come back and nothing changed. A lot of things changed for the better. And I couldn't be more excited about the course. I tell everybody, all of my PureClean network owners, this is a must-have. Do not take this class.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just very excited to have these tools and be a part of this, and now going to the next level with the high-risk, high-level disinfection specialist. Fentanyl is a problem, and we can do something about it. This is why we got into restoration in the first place. It's a hands-on industry. We're seeing people at their worst. I mean, the reality is that when there's been a loss of property, it's disruptive, it's disappointing, it's stressful. Well, how much more so when there's a death involved,
Right.
when there's a child death involved? My goodness, and we can do something about it. And we've had professional counselors in when we've dealt with scenes that were particularly difficult, but we have a worldview where we want to help people and we have an answer. And thanks to Jeff, we have a process.
Wow.
Yeah, hey, Anissa,
Yeah.
when we took that course together, I don't know about you, but in education, when we did the ATP test, this was the first time in my entire life I was hoping to get a 0 on a test.
Right.
Wasn't that amazing? And
Yes.
Jeff had
Can you
mentioned
guys
that,
explain to me what that is? I have to know what that is, if I can know, what the test
yes,
entails.
sure. RLUs, it basically, all life has energy, and it measures energy of whether it exists or not. And it's one of the many ways that you can test surfaces for how clean they are. Food manufacturing industry, the hospital industry, they all use ATP testing and other methodology to identify when something's clean. Like Dr. Michael Berry said, as Jeff alluded in his book, Cleaning the Built Environment, Clean for Health, we don't clean for chunks, we clean for health, and you can't see the smallest microorganisms out there. So the one thing I just wanted to add, Anissa, once again, was what's unique about this program. It's a best practice, state-of-the-art program. Our standards in the industry are well written, they're good, but they're based on consensus and not best practice, not state-of-the-art necessarily. They should be part of the consensus, but this program is totally focused on creating a best practice, a state-of-the-art procedure,
Right.
so that we can reach the level, as Jess said, I want to be able to open up a daycare center in that building when we're done. It's not clean enough. Is it truly to the level of clean that you would want your mother in there, your dad in there, your grandma, your grandfather? And this is what really attracted me to the level of professionalism of what this course is providing, the high risk, high level decontamination specialist course. So anyway, thanks for allowing me to jump in. That was just one of those things that's oh my God, what makes this so unique?
Yeah.
C. diff in sewage. We're really not dealing with that well enough the way typical companies go out and deal with it. You can't see if you have C. difficile in something. Are we treating it as if it's there? Because you can't see it. So we're
Right.
putting people at risk when we do our jobs today.
100%. And, I want to thank you very much, also, Bob, for your testimonial, if you will, for having taken Jeff's class and you applying it and how you felt that it was so practical. And I love the way you said that it's stuff you take home, you use right now. It's not things that you just take home and learn some theory or got a book you put on the shelf. And again, there's room for all that. There's a place for all that. But I love
Yes.
that you said that, because too much in our industry, that's what we do wind up coming out with. And so, Jeff, that's a perfect segue into, I have two important questions for you, and I'm not sure which is the most important, but for the high level, high risk certification class that you are now teaching, who is this class for and who is this class not for?
This is for anyone that wants to make a difference in the world, okay, that wants to leave the world a better place than what they found it, okay? We have a clear and present danger out there. So let me say this. If you follow the training, the tactics, the techniques, and the tools, if you contain, control, neutralize, and remove, if you'll address the three: structure, indoor air quality, and contents, then there's absolutely nothing that you can't do if you follow protocol and procedures. Okay. There's not a contaminant or a pathogen on this planet I can't negotiate. And I can neutralize fentanyl in 60 seconds. But there's only one of me. Okay. That neutralization in 60 seconds, that's just setting it up for the rest of the protocol and procedures to contain, control, neutralize, and remove one of the most dangerous contaminants of our lifetime, a clear and present danger to health, life, and security of the United States. So who is this for? This is for anyone that wants to make a difference. If you've got a warrior's passion for service and a servant's heart, I can train you in the techniques, the tools. We can train you in that. Okay. But this is not for people that think that we're going to cut corners and go and do the ridiculous drama that we saw during COVID-19. Let me say, for remediators that want to take their personal lives and their business to the next level, this is for you. But this is also for the first responders. God bless them. This is a personal message. I love you guys. I really do. Ayo Aninishna. That's Navajo. It means I love you. Law enforcement, paramedics, ambulance drivers, the Border Patrol. You guys have taken such a hit with this administration. Okay. God, we support you out there, and we want to be able to provide you with the training, tactics, techniques, and tools so you go home safe all the time. Okay. But this is not for people that cut corners. And let me say one other thing. If anyone within the sound of my voice, if you're struggling with an addiction issue, man, I know you're hurting. Okay. My heart goes out to you. But partner, don't go down this road. You'll be playing Russian roulette with a 45 automatic, and there's no win. Okay. And we love you. We want you around. Okay.
Jeff, on that note, for anyone that wants to take this training, whether it's the first responders or the restoration professionals that truly want to be there to serve in a great way, how do they get a hold of you?
Go to microbialwarrior.com and you can see the training schedule there.
Okay.
The next certified forensic operator course, and that's a prerequisite. It's not called high risk, high level decontamination specialist just because it sounds good. That's the way it is. If you drop the ball on this, the next company meeting won't be, Well, John's not going to be here tomorrow due to a slight case of death, but he may be here on Thursday. Okay, it doesn't work that way. You cut corners on these protocols and these procedures, you'd better hope that the prosecutor doesn't hire me as a professional witness to come in, because I'm not going to have a happy look on my face. So the Certified Forensic Operator course, the next one is going to be in June. That still has open slots on it. And then after that will be the next high-risk, high-level decontamination specialist course.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, you heard it right here, that big announcement for this new training that's going to be put on by the Microbial Warriors. And I promise you, if you are interested, do go online to their website, and we will have, I'm sure, contact information below the video posted, probably on R&R Magazine. And you're also going to want to subscribe to R&R Magazine, by the way. Make sure you are part of the digital subscription. Subscribe to the e-newsletter, because I'm sure that we will be giving you more information about up-and-coming trainings. And when they become available, if you really want to be that restoration contractor who really serves your community and send your team out there prepared to fight the battle, maybe of their life, depending on what they're going out to do, then send them to this training and make sure that they are certified and prepared to handle anything. Well,
let me say something really quick. Growing up in this industry, and I'm in my 54th year in this industry, and I've seen the different political organizations and some of the drama that goes on. And sometimes when presented with a problem, our whole industry takes off like this in 5 different directions. And oh, it's got to be me, and my program's better. Read my standard, read my guideline. All the this is too dangerous. Okay, we're not going to get there like this. But look what happens. Look what happens when we all come together. There's nothing we can't accomplish. Okay, that's the way of the Microbial Warrior.
100%. Well, I couldn't agree more.
That's amazing.
Right.
Before we go,
Yeah.
just one last thing. As Anissa said, Anissa, you as well. I want to thank all of you guys for your time and your insight, and thank you for what you're doing in making the world a better place every single day. All superheroes don't wear capes. And I know that we did already get it from Jeff, where we could connect with and learn more about you. But for Barry and Bob, where can listeners or our followers kind of connect more and learn more about you and your company?
Well, with myself, it would be Barry at CostaGroupEducation.com. My cell number is 603-547-5006.
Bob?
Okay. Our PuroClean website is PuroClean NW for PuroClean Northwest, PuroCleanNW.com. My email is the letter R as in Robert, rjordan, RJORDAN at PuroClean.com. Cell phone, direct line 425-268-8072.
Like Anissa, we already know. But again, listeners and viewers, you can learn more about them, as they said, with the information they just gave. And for more insights on restoration, remediation, and the people behind it all, visit our website, rnrmagonline.com, Apple or Spotify. Be sure to follow the podcast to keep up with our monthly episodes and give us a quick review and rating. We're also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. So we invite you to follow us there too. This has been R&R's Restoration Report. And thank you for listening. And thank you for being here with us.